discernment. Why could it be one of the most important skills that you can learn? What is it? Why do we need to do it? Why is it important? How do we do it? What does it really mean? And when do we do it? When do we need to do it? This video looks into all of that. And I hope that what I can share from my experience can help you to master a really key skill. Hi, I'm Reverend Grace. I'm a One Spirit minister, and I hope part of my ministry, as it seems to be turning out, is producing videos that hopefully is going to help you along your life path, along your spiritual path, just to get through the day and through the world, and know how to be grounded and centered, and there's all kinds of videos on here. But today this is like a video I've wanted to do for a long time. It's something that I've worked on for years. Not this video, the topic of it, discernment. So what do I think discernment is? What does it mean to me? I see it as two aspects: main life situations, sort of day-to-day stuff, right through to bigger life issues, and also there's discernment needed when you're following a spiritual path, when you're looking at progression of yourself and inner growth. That sort of learning path can take you down all sorts of routes. So I think in life situations, it's a really key skill to have. I think at the moment, there seems to be so much going on in the world, and there can be so many things that you can be scared of and worry about. And so those life situations, sometimes you need to sit back and have a bit of a think of things. We're all quite reactive. The world is built up to be quite reactive. You're seeing that in the news. You're seeing that out in society. You're seeing that in all kinds on social media. You're seeing that in all kinds of ways. And then really on the spiritual path, I found it's a case of, it's like a debate with myself. It's a wrangling of those bigger questions as you go along, or as I have found going through a path of study. When I was on the ministry course, before that I was looking into things, all kinds of things throughout my life, but not with any great sort of seriousness, whereas my study has continued since the course. And it's really interesting. When you're trying to explore yourself, who you are, why you're here, when I'm trying to work out ultimately who or what is God, is that the same thing as spirit? Is that a different thing? Is God the creator? How so it's bringing in all interesting topics: history, ancient history, psychology, metaphysics, great spiritual teaching and wisdom teachings, all the different faith paths, and including like looking down really uncommon ones. And when you go down that path that splits off into all this crazy tree of exploration, you can come up against a new teaching or a new learning, or you're listening to watching something or reading something, and it brings might not even be directly with this topic that you're learning about, but it's suddenly brings in some sort of inspiration, and so it can be really challenging, because you can learn something that pops up, or you have this insight, and that kind of disrupts or upsets or unsettles what you already thought that you knew and what you believe in, and so it can be quite easy to go away to sort of try and leave that. And I found this process of discernment sometimes it can be a challenging one. Well, quite often it's a challenging one, but I quite enjoy the sort of the mind gymnastics. it is. I do really get up in my head about things, and I have to sometimes remember this is a sort of a self-care thing. If it's getting a bit too, hairy or really giving you discomfort or unsettling you too much, then step away from it, stop thinking about it, go and think about something else. You can always come back to that. So in terms of time, I find it's a long process. So with these life decisions, maybe because I'm honing discernment in my spiritual learning, I have got more in tune with my intuition, so therefore I'm trusting my gut instinct more. So when I'm faced with everyday life situations, I can discern what I need to do more quickly, or I discern that this is a situation that's bigger than reacting now or quite quickly. I don't quite know where to go on this, so I discern to sit back and discern it fully. So the one helps the other. So in terms of time, especially on the spiritual path, seeking God sort of aspect, we're talking ongoing process. I'm talking some things just taking time, but letting that mull through. Just sort of taking the time to ponder. I tend to, if I'm working something out, I'm doing the dishes, I'm cooking the tea, I'm driving to or from work. So that does give me opportunity to bend my brain around some things. That sort of brain bending situation comes out of having, I don't know, so I'm studying one thing and then a name or a book or an idea or a concept is presented, and I don't know enough about that to be able to discern, so I go to find more out about that. And so sometimes I'm watching things, I'm watching YouTube usually, and I'm seeing what comes up from that. The video itself can be challenging to watch because I don't particularly, the voice of the person is, grates me, or the content seems a little bit dull, or it's a little bit too academic for me. So that's when I can switch off from that. Or I don't agree with what they're saying, but actually that's when usually I really need to watch. I try and look at things, read things, listen to things, all around the different perspectives and the different sides, so that each time I'm getting more of a sense that feels wrong. Why does it feel wrong? Because it doesn't seem to fit, or I just don't think that's right, or you're going through this sort of a process all the time. So it's weighing things up, juggling things around, going sometimes with things that seem uncomfortable and they don't seem to fit. Sometimes with those videos, like it recommends the ones below, and one will keep coming up at the top. I just think, I don't want to watch that, or that just looks like clickbait, or just like, and then when it's popped up a few times, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll watch it, and then I watch it, and you're like, oh, it's either something, some amazing teaching, or something that I hadn't concept that I hadn't thought of before, or it's a thing that again it butts up against what I thought I knew, but it challenges me to look at a whole new perspective. So quite often, if those videos keep popping up for you, watch them, because they're probably trying to tell you something, even if it's just to put you straight on a sort of a no path as opposed to a yes path. Explore more, or this is truth for me, and that's what it's all about. Be it the pathway of your own progression, or whether you're trying to find out who God is, or whatever. It is about, what's my life's purpose? What part am I here to play? People call it spiritual awakening, and it's all of that. The other part of what is it? It's that opening yourself up to conversations inside, but you have a sense that those conversations are with some other part of you. Now, whether that's some connection with higher consciousness, a part of you that's not here, the rest of you, as it were, when this body dies and that spirit goes off, there's another bit of you up around, out in a realm or in a dimension, in a wherever, or whether it's a connection with God or connection with spirit, whatever your thinking is on that. I think it's that discernment is being able to connect with something else. So there's so many teachings and wisdom that said that all the answers are in us. Or if we've all been put down here as sort of students on Earth School, then there are things to be learnt, and it strikes me that if we're beings of spirit and we're not going on a spiritual path, whether we're doing that directly and quite overtly and this is our way and people around us know that it's our way, or whether it's people that aren't, say, switched on to overtly going on that path, but maybe they know that they're on some sort of sense of progression, or they want to better themselves, or they don't necessarily associate it with what people is lumped into the pudding of spirit and spiritual and spirituality. There's lots of people that wouldn't use those terms, but they're still on the same thing. And so why is it so important? Because you're here we are. Here we are, living and being, and if our purpose is to get through this school and for our spirit, our soul, our whatever inner being to learn stuff, then crack on. And a part of that is going to be discernment, because you're going to be presented with things. Like I said, I've been on this thing of learning. I'm going down all these rabbit holes, and some are like, oh, what is that all about? And how does that? Oh, it's completely changed everything. Oh, so the other reason why I think it's really important today, like now, in our times now, is because we are living in a world where we're absolutely bombarded. When did it become a thing that we needed news 24 hours, 7 days a week? What we were quite happy with sort of, breakfast, lunch and dinner and bedtime news. That's it, but it's constant. And then there's social media and just the way that the laws and the way the government gets us doing things and all the stuff we have to do on computers and passwords and everyone's just bogged down with all this crap. People that have kids going to school, I mean, that the education bill's changing or about to change, or it's changed, and parents' power over their own children are being taken over by the state through the school. I mean, it's just, it's constant. And so you're wading through this quagmire of crap, as well as you're trying to be, overtly or consciously or unconsciously this spiritual being that's just trying to be and find out who you are and why am I here and what's the point of it all anyway and all that sort of thing. And so discernment is this process of sitting back, I think, and just having a good old think about things, which means you're not racing up to stuff, you're not reacting. And if it really is a case, which I think it is, if it really is a case of you're connecting with some higher thing, it's quite hard. If you're living in a lot of fear, or if you're living, in a state of sort of complete apathy or confusion or just overload, then that's going to be hard to make good decisions and to feel that you can be or have autonomy and be able to really function and have confidence and self-awareness. And we can all be too battered by living in this modern world, I think. So discernment, along with taking sort of peaceful breaks for yourself, be that a full-on retreat weekend or just short prayer, short time meditation, a few minutes every day, just doing something for yourself, or being out in nature, or it's a combination of all these things. Okay, so that moves us on to how do we do it? How do I do it? It's taking it's not shutting them down, but it's bringing my attention away from my 5 physical senses and going more inwards. It makes me think of my lovely supervisor Sheila, who when the word understanding comes up, and she swaps it for inner standing. So what do I understand of this situation? What do I need to know more about it to be able to really have an opinion on it and be able to the ability to make a good decision, a good choice. So there it comes up for me that there's judgment and there's discernment. So there's an element of judgment which comes from predispositions, conditioning, upbringing, all those things that you can have this train of thought. But also, again, if you're being fair-minded, if you're being if you're doing it through compassion, I think there is an element always needed of judgment, and not judgments as in, oh, you know, we think of people, oh, don't judge me. There's that sort of, it's become such a, oh, people don't like the word, oh, you know, you're judging me. It's become a bad word. But I think there has to be an element of judgment. You have to be able to have the ability to weigh things up, and just by what judging means, you're having to make an assessment. You could swap it with the word assessment. So there's obviously some judgments to be made, and then the discerning is taking it a step further. That I think it is this thing that you're connecting. You're asking a question of yourself. So a great friend of mine, amazing guy. I wish I could see him more. I haven't seen him for a long time, but he was just like that wise old dude with the really long dreadlocks, and you'd go round to his and he'd just put music on and he wouldn't speak to you. You just sat in each other's company listening to great reggae. Sometimes he would speak to you, but yeah, unusual guy. But anyway, one time when we did actually have a conversation, he said we used to live on the same site, so I used to pop over, and one time he said to me, you know that if you ask any question into the universe, you will always get the answer. But the universe, it doesn't operate, there's space, but there's not time out there. This time is like this man-made thing. And so there's no time. So you could get the answer in 3 minutes, 3 seconds, 3 years, 30 years, you know, but you'll always get the answer. Of course, then what I thought was, problem is then I've got to remember that I asked the question, but there have been times when an answer's popped back and I've known it's the answer, just feel it. You're like, oh yeah, that's the answer. So yeah, in the same way of asking the universe for the question, are you really asking the universe, or are you actually asking your higher self and it comes back to you? This is another thing that I haven't quite worked out yet, and it could be a 50-50 sort of or a 33% kind of a question and answer situation anyway, so I don't know. So yeah, how do I do it? Yeah, I think some of the time I'm really in my head and I'm boggling a thing round and maybe forgetting to just ask that question out into the universe. I'm trying to get more information about a thing, and within that I'm looking all around it at 360 degrees kind of a thing. And the other thing that I'm doing, especially if I am consciously sitting more within it in the intuitive sense rather than up in the head questioning, and because I quite like that balance of rational and logical and working it through the mind thing, as much as I think there's a good, I don't think it's all about just going within. I like, or maybe it's just me, that I like that capacity to mull it around and weigh things up, and try and explore perspectives, what might be other perspectives that haven't been presented to me, and yeah, so all of that. I think it's the nice, again, it's this head-heart connection, this heart-brain connection thing, actually, that came up years ago. The Heart Math Institute in America doing amazing things. There's lots of videos. Greg Braden talks about that a lot. Really interesting. So it's this exercising of the head-heart connection. So yeah, when I maybe have gone more inwards and I'm thinking more intuitively or connecting with higher self, or whichever way you want to think about it. Sometimes it's having an awareness as well. I suppose a bit like trying to remember that you've asked the universe the question. It's having an awareness and being head up and eyes open and seeing around you in your daily life how or where the answer is being presented to you. So there's a guy who does YouTube videos, Father Mike, American, I'm going to say he's an American Catholic priest. Groovy guy. Yeah, he's cool. And I remember a video and he's talking about discerning God's will. He hit the nail on the head. Sometimes we don't want to do God's will as much as we want relief from the responsibility of having to make decisions for ourselves. The point was, so on the how to do it, he says, there was questions. So you imagine like this choice or this thing in front of you is a door to open. So this is kind of a life situation thing. Is it a good door? You know, is this like going to hurt other people? Is it really ill considered? Is it inconsiderate? Is it against the law? Is it like against God's law? Is it just goes against nature? You know, is it a good door to want to open and go through? Is the door open? Is it something that you are actually able to do? You know, like you're qualified for the job that you want to go for, or, you know, oh, I want to be a fairy. Well, you can dress as a fairy as fancy dress, but in real life, yeah, you probably haven't got the skills to turn yourself into a fairy. So you've got to be a little bit realistic. Is that an open door for you? Is it a wise door? Is that a good idea? Is that going to end well? You know, looking at the sort of consequences of making that decision. Is it a door that I want to go through? Which brings us to feelings. So now who was it? It's a guy, a father. He's he's a monk or a father. Anyway, he was saying about asking Jesus. He's like, can you make it easy for me? Can you show me, you know, the way that is best to go, the answer? And when he's listening back, he said he's not listening for words. Some of you might be clairaudient. Maybe you're getting words. Some would describe it as like getting intuition, getting that gut feeling, which is called gut feeling. So the feeling, he's feeling out for a change in his heart. That's what he's listening for. That's what he's looking for. That feeling of joy, of love, of peace, of I don't know if I get these feelings sometimes. I get it when I cross the body and I do Mother at the end. That's on my part 3 Rosary Pray With Me videos, companion video explained that. That gives me like, especially the first time I did it, it was like whoof, like electric in the body. So yeah, you can get to different degrees of intensity. You can get those feelings, and that's when you know you're on the right track. And those that say, oh, I've heard people say, oh, well, you don't know who you're talking to when you're trying to connect with this, that, and the other. Yeah, I would say you know you've got to be a bit careful. But how careful do you need to be? Again, it's having an awareness of it and being really fresh and honest with yourself and realistic and saying, is this like a bad feeling? Is this like a bad voice that I'm getting? Well, cut the cords, get rid. That's not, if it's not for your better good and for the better good of everyone and the planet and nature and all the rest of it, then I'm not sure that's a voice you want to be listening to, and it's not really the way you want to be going down, I don't think. And I would have thought that's obvious to anyone. It can seem, I really have this belief, it can seem like there's some really bad people, and I guess there are bad people in the world. I'm not an idiot, but I really think that's the minority. That is my honest belief. And I think we can be in such fear of people these days in our streets and local communities. You don't know those people. If you knew those people, you might not want to have them around your house for a cup of tea, but I bet you could have a little good chat with them, and actually they wouldn't be quite what you judged them to be by your preconceptions. You didn't get to know them, get the information and be able to discern. Ha ha ha, that brought it round in a nice little loop. So when do we need to do it? Now! Crikey, we need to be doing it now. Because like I say, the world looks like it's going mad or to hell in a handcart. When I asked my granddad, he was 99 a week ago, and I said to him, he was a guy that used to go to church, he was a church warden, did a lot for the church, and I said to him, oh, you know, do you think the world's got madder over time then, Grandad? And he said, nope. He said, I think it's always been like that. So there you go. But it does seem to be there is an intensity, and if you have an interest or you watch videos about the energy sort of work and light workers and all that, then you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, so whether you want to go down the science route or whether you want to go down the acupuncture, qigong, tai chi kind of a yoga route, and they're talking about kundalini and body energies, or whether the science route and you're talking about your electric magnetic field, which we all have one, to you have an understanding of us being cosmic beings, even, what is he called? That physicist, the guy, I can have to look his name up, dark hair, clever chap, interesting, he used to be in a band in the 80s. Name escapes me. I'll put it down in the thing, as usual. He said that we're made of stardust because, you know, iron and calcium and all the stuff that we're made of, magnesium and selenium and all the rest of it. That cosmic connection that we have, whatever the thing is, we are energetic beings, within, without, and there is a raised state of energetic, I don't know what you call it. Anyway, it's all bubbling up and it's getting really, that's also connected with, good grief, what is wrong with me today? Astrology. Now again, oh no, she doesn't read the horoscopes and believe in the horoscopes, does she? Well, yeah, I used to love News of the World on Sunday in the magazine, and the last page was a really good crossword because it was basic questions and answers, and it was quite a big one, and it was quite easy, so I felt like I could really do that. But also the stars. It was great getting that, to read that in the week. But again, it comes back to this cosmic thing. We are cosmic. Well, there is a relation between us and what is going on, which is the thing that has just been going round and round in my head this last year, especially. And so about as above and so below. Yeah. So whatever it is, we're all in a bit of a heightened state, and that is playing out through what is happening in the world and how we're feeling as people and how we're getting about in our days. So that's something to be conscious of and bring into this thing of discernment, and why it's important now. Yeah, so this is discernment, and I really hope that you have been able to get something from this video, something useful, something meaningful. Maybe you'd show your appreciation by hitting the like button, get on your little tray of letters down below, put a little comment in, or you know, if you've got a question, if there's something further that I haven't sort of explored or mentioned here, maybe you want to put that in, and I can find the best way to answer you, if it's a big thing or a small thing. And yeah, I'm a growing, well, I'd like to think I am a growing channel, but I'm at the very beginning at this point of making this video. So any subscriptions, subscribing, it doesn't cost you any money, it doesn't commit you to anything, no one's going to be emailing you. What you do get if you hit the bell is notifications come up to say that I've put a new video out. So if you think you'd like to see more of this sort of a thing, then yeah, hit the old subscribe button. Oh, and share it with your friends. Hit the share button, send it off to somewhere else, get them watching it. Yeah, okay, enough. Peace be with you.